All right, with head coach Rob Talley, heading into week 6, already headed on the road, back-to-back weeks in New York, starting tomorrow at LIU Post. Coach, just talk about this stretching your schedule here. You have 2 home games and now back-to-back trips to New York.
Yeah, it's always it could be challenging. I think we really can learn from last year when we had the 2 back-to-backs, in Connecticut, which winds up being a pretty long trip for us, and being able to win both of those on the road really gave us a boost of confidence and really kind of showed our kids how to handle those situations. 2 tough games on the road. So I have to go to Long Island, which is probably the longest trip we'll have this year. And to face a very good football team, so it's a challenge, and it's a little bit of a shorter week because we'll leave in a couple of hours here, so we don't really get that 4th practice, and we'll get a walkthrough here at some point. So you're really down to practice as well. So our kids just have to adjust. We've been doing a real good job from a film study standpoint, and we put a few extra periods in our practice throughout the week. So we feel we're ready.
What you kind of touched on a little bit the adjustments you have to make specifically. How does that starting Saturday after the game ends? Now you're going to be on a bus here, like you said, in a couple hours.
Well, everything's sped up a little bit, and probably affects the coaches probably more than the players, as far as just speeding up the game prep. But nothing really goes from there. But then it's put on our kids from a film study standpoint and making sure they have a real good grasp of the game plan. You maybe try to back off on the game plan as far as the amount that you're going to use. Try to carry over a little more stuff from last week that you didn't use. So we a little combination of all that. But as I said, I think our kids have handled it, and once again having to deal with it last year, they're ready for it.
Back to last Saturday, New Haven. Seems like this is going to be a one-possession game against these guys year in, year out. You guys really, the first half, managed the game well. Defense overall was strong. The second half, offense really kind of struggled, and that kind of was where the problem started. Can you just talk about the game and what you kind of saw and what happened?
Well, I think the biggest thing, we played really good football in the first half. We didn't turn the ball over. To me, we controlled the line of scrimmage. Defensively, we played real well, forced a bunch of 3-and-outs. And offensively, we moved the ball. We didn't take advantage in the red zone where we have a botch snap that we don't get to kick a field goal on, and basically really taking points off the board. And then we had a 4th and 1 that we need to make. It's 4th and probably a couple of feet that we need to make, and so we really had some success moving the ball. In the second half, as I told him, we just didn't deal with the elements. It started to rain a little bit more, and for some reason it felt every time we had the ball offensively, it started raining a little bit harder. But it's a matter of dealing with those elements. We practiced the whole week in the rain, but then we had some tip balls and turnovers, and then we had a fumble deep down in the end zone. The biggest thing with that, they came away with no points from all that. The turnovers, but once again, you put more pressure on the defense to have to step up and make a play, and if you keep on doing that at some point, defense is going to wear down. So, offensively, we got to take care of the football, and that really goes for everybody on that unit, and ball security, making the right decisions. When the ball's thrown to you, catch the ball. So that's what got us in the problems with turnovers, because we really felt we had a good control of the football game. We just weren't able to put it away.
Talk about Tom Sadesky a little bit. Certainly with a first-year quarterback, certainly he's your 3rd this year. There's going to be some learning curve, and you're going to have to fight through some things, but with turnovers and whatnot. But obviously you don't want 4 1/4, especially the 4th quarter. But just talk about him and his development, and how you see he's handled that in the week.
I think with his temperament, it really helps the situation. Where he's a very even-keeled person. And he doesn't have a lot of highs, doesn't have a lot of lows. So he's able to adjust everything. He's very smart, knows what he's doing, works at it, and he makes the right decisions. And I think when he does that, he's really successful. And a couple of plays last week, he didn't make the right decisions, and they ended up hurting us. So you hope the biggest thing is that he learns from it. He continues to grow, because he'll have to make those big throws going forward.
A lot of attention as far as wideouts. Nate Robitaille obviously gets a lot of attention, but another guy who's quietly having a very good season, or not so quietly, is Gordon McLeod, very quietly moving up your career list. I think he's 7th now in career yardage. Just talk about him, and he had a great game for you guys on.
Well, the thing with Gordon, to me, he's just so consistent. He practices hard. He's probably been one of the few receivers we have has been healthy the whole preseason and season. So he's really been able to get the practice work in, and he just keeps on working at it. And he has really good hands, and he makes plays. And as you can tell from last week, he's able to take it the distance. So we're excited to have. We're excited with his development. And when you have someone like Nate Robitaille, who was drawing some double coverage, last week from New Haven, then it's nice to have somebody that another option for us to go to.
Defensively, you guys have, you talk about trying to force turnovers. That's probably the one drawback from your defense this year. One guy who's kind of gotten a couple of picks for you guys is Nate Morris. Talk about him and his development from over the year, and now he's 7 career interceptions for you guys.
Yeah, well, the basic thing about Nate, he works hard. He's definitely the playmaker for us on that side of the ball. He knows he has a whole bunch of stuff to work on, but he's going to be aggressive. He's going to go after the football. He's going to play tight coverage, and he's gotten some pass interference calls, and unfortunately that's going to happen. And I think that goes with the way he plays, where he's going to make some plays, and there are going to be some close calls that we're going to leave up to the officials. But he continues to get better. I think towards the end of the second part of last year, he really came on as a player for us, and we're once again excited about his growth and him continuing to get better.
So tomorrow, CW Post, LIU Post, and talk about them a little bit. On offense, they certainly starts with their quarterback, who's a very good player for them.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a dual threat guy, it winds up being a tough situation. A kid that can run, a kid that's played a lot of football. So he's used to being in big games, used to making play. He wants the ball in his hand in crunch time. So obviously, our first priority, we got to stop the run, and he's included in trying to stop the run. And we have to limit his big plays. Last year we were able to come away with some big turnovers against him, and we're going to need the same thing going forward.
Defensively, I mean, it seemed like last year maybe wasn't what we expected to see from Post coming in from the PSAC, and but this year they certainly are coming on strong. Just how about the defensive side of the ball for them? And
I think the biggest thing is I know going into last year and talking to their coach, they were really banged up. They lost a whole bunch of people on defense. They've definitely reloaded on that side of the football. They're playing solid football. To me, they're not doing too much. They're lining up and playing football, and they have some really good guys in the back and really good athletes, and so they just really try to keep everything in front of them and make you work for everything. So I think they're playing good football. Offensively, we're going to need to mix it up, keep them off balance, and and be able to move the football.
I don't think I've ever seen a 3-game road trip in this league in football. They're coming off 3 straight road games and won them all, I believe. And just talk about that, what you may have to parade the team for, a team that's been on the road and returning home, and I'm sure they'll have quite an emotional lift.
Well, I think the thing with them, I believe they lost the Merrimack game, so they lost one of those games, and they definitely a team that plays better at home, and I think they'll be excited to be at home after you've been on the road for 3 weeks, and it's nice to get back and play in front of your friends and family. So it's a hard place to win. I think you think over the years and teams that play down there, it's a hard place to win. So. They'll be excited about it, but we're excited about it's our first overnight trip of the year, and we're excited to see how we're going to handle that aspect of it. So, I think our players are ready for the challenge.
All right, you have 3 keys to a win tomorrow at Post.
Right, first and foremost, it has to be turnovers. We really need to get some on defense. I mean, that, as I said, that's a one missing piece. Where last year we were getting just so many more turnovers. So we just have to get turnovers. And then we have to protect the ball on offense. We have to make sure. I'd rather punt the ball and then give them field position. So take care of the football, and then I think the biggest thing is going to be big plays. We have to limit their big plays. I think they're an offense that kind of builds off that big play, and then defensively Offensively, we have to get some big plays. We have some real good playmakers on the outside with real good back. We need to bust a 20-yard run. We need to get a 30+ yard pass. So, and then to me, it's all about rushing the football. We have to control that rush. We have to make them one-dimensional, and then for us, we have to be able to run the football. And really run it early and run it in some key situations. And if it's 4th and 1, we have to get 4th and 1. So really, that winds up being our focus.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.